I am so eager to start this show off right again. Welcome to the Music Box episode 2, where I talk about any music topic. And it's also a show for musicians alike and music fans too. And so I decided to expand or change it, I guess, for the sake of it, like, so it wouldn't be just me talking for like 20 minutes for each topic. So I added two more break songs and also two more subtopics in it. So there's five subtopics and five break songs. And so yeah, let's first start with music artists or musicians as they're actually called, and it's also the main topic. So I'm gonna talk about three main musicians that I've listened to often, and then go from there. I already talked about Porter Robinson, but that's not one of the three musicians I talk about. Um, so let's start with Daft Punk. I was gonna talk about him in the previous episode, in which was the musicians that inspired me, but because I decided to cut it so I can like continue like have the time still be the same as usual. I just cut it. So Daft Punk was actually one of the first musicians that got me to change my music style, because I used to do like SoundCloud rap type things where I like rapped about anything, and yeah, I rapped over any beat I created. It wasn't that really. I just disliked it, so I decided to change it, and it was for the good because I actually liked the genre I switched to, and Daft Punk was the first, because if they didn't exist, I would still be doing SoundCloud rap, and it would probably never work out really good. So let's start with Discovery. Now, I actually do have a Discovery CD. Um, it's right here. That, um, and so Daft Punk's Discovery is one of my all-time favorite my all-time favorite albums. And can you believe it? It's actually I believe, yeah, it's turning 24 this year, and it's actually sorry and yeah, it's the whole theme around it is like, I believe it started like the French house like genre, like Foley. It like was an actual like, make it close. Okay. Sorry, technical difficulties. Anyways, so Discovery was one of the best albums that was from the 2000s, and it was very maximalist, and it was very disco-y, I could say, because it sampled a lot of disco tracks from the 70s, in which you could hear in like One More Time, Aerodynamic, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, and Crescendos, if you've listened to the album. Um, and it's one of the best. My favorite tracks off that album is One More Time, Aerodynamic, Digital Love, Crescendos, Very Disco, and Too Long. They're really good. They're like something I could like. They're feel good tracks. They're something I can listen to during the summer, and it's awesome. Um, so let's move on to Tyler the Creator. And so Tyler the Creator, out of all the musicians I'm going to talk about, I haven't really listened to him as much because because throughout my life I've listened to more of like 80s rock, pop, electronic, and just folk. It's mainly those. I just recently got into like rap in like, I think like 2022, and I'm still exploring more of the subgenres. And Tyler the Creator was one of those because I like the style that he goes for. Like even his old stuff, it's like vaguely different from like other tracks I've heard before, because the whole the whole um the whole Goblin, for example, his first album that was released on the streaming platforms, is horror core. I have to sound that out because I feel like I just like say it wrong or anything like that and have another thing. And let's talk about Call Me If You Get Lost first, because Call Me If You Get Lost is one of my favorite Tyler albums. And the reason is because it sounds like it the whole theme is kind of like a summer type thing, like a hot summer day, like you're relaxing and such. It's really good. I like it. The instrumentals itself is awesome. It's stellar. It's good. And the first track I've listened to from Call Me If You Get Lost has to be What's the Name, because I heard it off of Track Lib's sample breakdown videos, in which he sampled an H-Town track and just pitched it up and chopped some of it and then boom, and then made Call Me, and then made What's Their Name, I mean. And it's one of those fun tracks. It's like a summer type track with the lyrics and like the instrumental itself. But some other tracks I can list that are good as well include Corso, Lumberjack, and a few that I'm forgetting about, but there's a few other tracks that I liked off the album. Next, let's talk about his recent album, Chromacopia. So, Chromacopia is, of course, his most recent album, and it's one of his best albums as well. I say that for almost all the albums I've listened to, and you'll hear that a lot in here. So, anyways, so Chromacopia was an unexpected release when he first dropped like the teaser trailer, which was Saint Chroma. I thought he was just gonna continue the odd number tradition, where he because he did it with Goblin, and then it just continued from there, and it just was an odd number, and then it moved to odd numbers and such, and then he broke that tradition in with Chromacopia. It released in 2024, was an even number. But let's talk about the tracks. So the first one that he released as a single was Noid, and it's about how his fans are like obsessive and just invade his personal space, and he wants to get away from that. And yeah, I think it actually gives a good message. I feel like if I was famous, I would just want a normal life. Like, I wouldn't want like the very popular like paparazzi type thing. I mean, I don't know, but it's really, I just want like a normal life that I could just like sit down, like go to the store and such. This also includes Adam Sandler, and also there are some moments I've seen on like YouTube where it's like paparazzi moments. Like, I've seen Tobey Maguire get mad at a paparazzi because he was in the way while he was trying to drive, which I feel like that's understandable if I was him, because I would not want someone in my face, like in front of like wherever I go. Like, I feel like I just want like to be alone, like have time to like be with family and such, and hang out with friends. Like I feel like if I were to buy a mansion, I'll just hang out with my friends no matter what. Rich or not, I'd still hang out with my friends. Friends and family come first, and everything. Let's finish off this first subtopic with Van Halen, because Van Halen was the one I've listened to mainly because my dad got me into that, and he actually got me into a lot of like 80s rock bands, like, or just rock bands in general, like AC/DC, ZZ Top, Led Zeppelin, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Pink Floyd, and of course Van Halen, as well as AC/DC. I think I also mentioned AC/DC a while ago, but Van Halen was the first album I've actually listened to of him, was actually a compilation album, in which my dad played the compilation album in his red truck. He used to have a red truck, now he doesn't anymore, but he used to play it. My favorite tracks off that album is the compilation album exclusive track, which is Me Wise Magic, which I actually talked about in last year's my playlist, in which I did an introduction and actually played it, and wow, that really was like probably one of my favorite tracks off the album. All the other ones are just songs from its other albums because, well, it's a compilation, but includes Jump, Panama, Why Can't This Be Love, but I could say that about all the other albums they actually made that were not a compilation album, like 1984 and I think it's 55150. I think that's correct. I'm not really sure, but anyway, so let's actually go to Jump by Van Halen. So while we're on topic of musicians, let's switch to music genres. So music genres, I feel like that's like another topic that I feel like would be a main priority to talk about. in which I'm going to talk about three music genres only. I might talk about other music genres in another episode maybe in the future. I'm not sure, but let's start with electronic. So electronic is the main genre I listen to a lot. Like it's like it's so versatile. It's really good. I like it. It's one of my all-time favorites. But we're gonna switch it up with subgenres of that genre. So let's start with the electronic Eurodance. So Eurodance was a genre I actually gotten into as of recently of late 2023, and it was it's a really fun genre. It's basically just a genre. It's like a bunch of stuff with sorry, technical difficulties again. And it's just like a genre that's like really fun to just dance to. That's all it is. It's just a song so you can dance to. It doesn't really have much meaning unless they include lyrics, and it does have meaning. But that's for almost all songs except for like probably a few. But Bass Hunter is one of them. You've probably heard some of his songs, which is Dota, and then I Can Walk on Water, or just I believe Walk on Water is the only thing. I remember seeing there was a Flipnote Studio app, I mean FL Studio Flipnote, and it was with the song Walk on Water, and it's just a stick figure. Um, he was just like, I believe, battling a bunch of enemies. It was a really good animation, and it's very cinematic for a Flipnote for a Flipnote on a Nintendo console. Um, and another one can be Cascada with Every Time We Touch, because big surprise, it's a Eurodance song, and it's on. It has some, I don't know. Anyway, so hardstyle kind of fits in Eurodance, but it's still its own genre. And hardstyle includes more of like louder louder kicks in terms of the song. I'm really stumbling. Um, it has like a bunch of gritty synths, gritty basses, everything in between. Really, it's a really hard hitting. The first time I listened to it was like, it just like, I was really surprised. Like, it was like an experience to say the least. But I already talked about a bit of it with Daft Punk, but French House was, of course, a genre that's from France. But it also, some other ones include Kavinsky, Justice. Some other ones I'm also, Gesaffelstein, I believe. And some other ones I'm forgetting because my mind forgets a lot of stuff. And French House is very versatile. It's like they sample mainly disco tracks, but has morphed into its own like thing without samples. Like we can thank Daft Punk for that. Next is synthwave, and was actually inspired by 80s electronic music and mainly features synths. It's that kind of genre that like you can listen to while in your car and driving in the rain with like a bunch of lights at night. It's I'd say it's a pretty chill genre because it's like relaxing and such. Next is house. So house is like, I can't really explain house that much, but it's like boom, 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 like that type of song. I can't really explain it well because I don't know. I haven't really listened to like a lot of like house songs because it's a bunch of like subgenres of house songs. I mean, you can count French house as some of them, but otherwise, I mean, yeah. Next is techno. Let's specifically talk about Aphex Twin. So Aphex Twin is, I would say, insane. Like when it comes to making songs, because he uses a lot of like programs, like out of nowhere, out of the blue programs and such. He used I believe what are these? Oh, spectrograms for his song. I think Equation, in which he used an image to spectrogram type audio, and it's like, and when you put it into a spectrogram visual thing, it shows picture of him just smiling, and that's his whole like brand. It's just like a bunch just smiles. Like it's creepy, but I mean, I guess happy. But Aphex Twin is still really insane. Like I believe he used like I forgot. I'm sorry. Next is let's talk about ambient next. Ambient and dark ambient to be exact, because ambient is really relaxing. I did mention it in the first episode with drums, but I'm just gonna talk about ambient here. Ambient, I would say, it's really relaxing and very I'm gonna say this a lot, versatile. Dark ambient is nostalgic, I could say, because even if it's like dark ambient, it's still really nostalgic. Concerning, I was expecting to be like how dark techno is, like really like um cinematic, really like sort of like depressing, I guess. As you can see, but I mean, it's kind of depressing in a way, with the being just nostalgic type depressing. Like you miss like how you were before, like you miss being like younger, miss being like having like miss having good times like when you were a kid and like playing on the swings and everything. But the final one is drum and bass. So drum and bass is really like energetic. It's like jungle, and it's a bunch of woo, 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 like that type, like that type thing. Like it's more of like on the bass side because of course it says drum and bass. But yeah, so let's now switch it up with the next genre I'm gonna talk about. I talked about a lot about electronic, but hip hop and rap is another one. I recently got into, like I think in like same year as, like it was in 2022 actually, and it's so like diverse when it comes to different subgenres, because it's like people really just like hate rap because it's like a bunch of swearing and such, but it's a lot more than that. It's like some people just don't understand some of the stories that these can tell. Like for example, conscious rap talks about politics. I'm not really gonna go too in depth on that, but conscious rap also talks about like life stories, like stories about their life and everything. And you can hear in like Kendrick Lamar, uh, West, mm, a bunch of others I'm forgetting because of course my brain loves to forget. Um, but conscious rap is really good storytelling wise. Let me see here. Next is lo-fi, which actually has if I'm pronouncing this right, Nujabes, and I feel like a few people know of Nujabes from Feather, and um I think it's Samurai Champloo. I think that's what it's called. I don't really remember, but it was a soundtrack. People know him from there, in which was had like I can't remember what it's called, but he's really good at what he does. Rest in peace. He died too young. Um, can't believe it's almost been 15 years since Nujabes actually died. That's crazy to think about. Um, but there's a he was actually the father of like lo-fi and such. He's he's good at what he does. He's really good. And with the lovesick hexology, it's the storytelling itself. It's really good. I like it. Next is experimental, which has Danny Brown, Peggy, and Death Grips, which are the main three that I can remember. Which they use like anything for samples. Like they use like I've seen like Peggy used ASMR for their sample, in which was he he just like chopped it up the like pitched it down and just screwed with it and just made a whole like insane beat, which was actually kind of weird to be honest to hear for the first time. Like it's really weird, but Danny Brown is like uh I can't really remember, but really good at what he does. So let's go to Safe and Sound by Capital Cities. So let's talk decades now. So I have three decades I want to talk about here. Each is like current to it's like 2020s, 2010s, and the 2000s. But let's start with the 2020s. So that this is the current decade. So let's start with quarantine. I want to talk a few about that because quarantine actually shifted the music industry a bit because you have a lot more like short songs compared to like songs before. I mean, there were still short songs in like the 2010s, but there's a lot more short songs because of TikTok, I could say, because TikTok like influenced like short like forms of media, like when it comes to like videos and like songs and I guess music per se. But quarantine was also the time when I like changed a lot, mainly in 2021. Like I like my music style switched. I myself like it's like I don't know. I guess got a deeper voice, and then that's all I can remember. Other ones, no. Um, Next, let's talk about Mac Miller's Balloonerism, which was released in 2025, and I believe is the most like major album release of 2025 so far, because of course it's Mac Miller's second posthumous album of like his whole like music career since his death. But it's also one of the best posthumous releases of like the 2020s decade. I know. I feel like I said that in like a rude way, in which it was not, but because mainly because almost all posthumous albums aren't really doing like the musicians who died justice. Like take for example Juice World. Juice World did, I would say, I mean his first two albums, his first two posthumous albums are some of the best like posthumous releases that they did for Juice WRLD. But then I think what is it called? Watch the Party Die? No, I think it's I'm just gonna go with Watch the Party Die since that's all I can remember from the name of it. But they didn't do it well because they were kind of like starting to like the like complete songs that were never released are like getting to like a slim, like are getting slimmer, and all the other ones that are just throwaways are just like more. So you just grab throwaways, put them in an album, and then boom. Like I've heard many critics say it wasn't really the best posthumous album of like of Juice WRLD's like legacy. Like it wasn't too good. It wasn't that. But then there's also Pop Smoke, which I've also heard wasn't really his posthumous album wasn't really also like from music critics. Like it wasn't really one of his best. But yeah, enough of that. Let's switch it up. Let's go to Dua Lipa with let's start with Future Nostalgia. Future Nostalgia was, I actually listened to it fully. It's actually really good. I like the album. I like how it gives me Daft Punk's Random Access Memories type feeling because I mean they both are in the same boat as their like themes because they're both disco type songs. I mean disco type albums. I mean, and they really do well in like bringing back like the disco genre. I mean, there's other artists that did do that too, but I mean didn't get as much but they didn't get as much popular as like Future Nostalgia and Random Access Memories. But yeah, no, some of my favorites from Future Nostalgia include, well, of course, her hit songs Don't Start Now, Levitating, Love Again, and that's about it. Next, let's talk about her single of 2023, Dance the Night Away, which actually is from the Barbie movie. It still gives a feeling of future nostalgia. Like it still feels like it fits in, like Dance the Night Away it feels like it fits in with Future Nostalgia, even though it's not from that album and it came out like 3 years later. It so it's actually it's one of my favorites off the album. Like it's good, it's nice. Fred Again is another one. He actually rose to fame in like 2020. And the actual Life trilogy, let's talk about that first. So, the actual Life trilogy happened in 2020. It's there. He actually recorded most, like he actually recorded most of his actual life, like used ambient tracks, I mean ambient sounds, um, um, audio that came from his that he had saved on his phone, and then YouTube videos that he had downloaded, and he did really good. I like when artists do that type of thing where they have just like random like sounds that they recorded like from like their actual town and such, and like from other people's voices, and he actually credited those people's voices in the credits of each song that he used that sample in, and it's really good. It's really unique. It's one of the best. It's one of the best trilogies of the 2020s decade. Next we got moved to his quote unquote collab with Leave Me Alone, in which I say that because he sampled two Baby Keem songs, and that was a collaborator that he collaborated with, in which he used Africa and Bullies, and then he used acapella, chopped it up, and then just used I think Newtone, which is a FL Studio plugin, and just like pitched it whatever, and just like used it so it looked like he was singing it. But yeah, 2010s. Let's talk about that. So I feel like 2010s is Gen Z's version of what Gen X's 80s were, because almost every Gen Z in our generation believes that the 2010s is one of the best decades that they've ever lived in, because it's really, it had a bunch of like impact on us, like we had a bunch of stuff such as like Vine, Instagram, Tumblr, a bunch of other stuff, and then some of the drinks, I guess. I don't even know. But let's talk about some of the artists. So let's start with the Chainsmokers. Now, the Chainsmokers, it's good. I like some of their songs. Roses is one of my favorites, and it came out in 2015, and it gives me 2016 type vibes, and it's really nostalgic to me. Like ever since I first listened to it, it still gives me nostalgia to this day when I listen to it. One of my favorites off of that duos. Next one, let's just move to Skrillex, and he's actually the creator, like he's actually the founder of like what modern dubstep sounds like what you hear now. I mean, there is different styles of dubstep, but the one that we all know, like from the 2010s and such, he did that. Like I guess he did that, like I don't know. And he actually switched his style in 2015 to more of like the dubstep that he was going for, but sorry, did that. He switched it up. It's like really more of the bass type thing, like whoom, 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 like that type bass, instead of just the screeching bass you'd hear in like any like thing. Let's move to the 2000s. So the 2000s, I feel like some of the technology in the 2000s is one of the greatest that I've ever like seen or owned, because it's really they've really made that so unique, to be honest. Like it's really like abstract and such. It's like really odd and unique. It's really good. Let's talk about Justice first from the 2000s. Justice actually was the second French house genre. I mean, another French house artist that was a that actually was that from Daft Punk and Cross from 2007. It's one of it's one of their best albums yet, next to Hyperdrama, but that's in like the 2020s and this is the 2000s. And it has a ton of micro samples in it. Like you can hear it like in Genesis, the claps are from In the Club. The intro is from the intro like horns are from the Godzilla theme, and then I believe another one was from Slipknot in that same track. But yeah, so then we go to Across the Universe. So Across the Universe was their 2008 live album, and it's a real like experience to say the least. Like one of the best experiences I've ever witnessed to listen to, and it's really good. They mixed electronic music with like rock music. It like mixed with like metal and such. Like they used Ministry. Um, I believe that's it. And it goes unbelievably like hard when you like listen to it. If you're like an electronic fan, like if you're an electronic music fan, please listen to it. It's super good, and it's really one of the best that they best live albums that they made. It's really just insane, crazy, and everything. Next, let's talk about Linkin Park. So Linkin Park is really just like took over like the the 2000s new metal scene because they had like Meteora, Hybrid Theory. Those are the other two albums because I thought there was more, but no. Meteor, I listened. I think it's one of my favorite Linkin Park albums of all time. It's really good. I like it. Most of the tracks are like all of them. Unskippable. One of the most unskippable albums I've listened to from Linkin Park. I mean, Hybrid Theory. Hybrid Theory is one of their debut albums. It's a classic, of course, but I like Meteor more. Like I feel like Meteor they've now like started to get into like their style of like metal of their like new metal, and with Numb, um Don't Stay, Somewhere I Belong, Easy to Run. It's very much one of the they're really good. I love them. I love the album so much. It's really good. But we're now going to move to a song from the 2020s decade, which is Levitating by Dua Lipa. So let's go with that. Let's move to that. this whole episode so far has got me to feel like I'm lost in my own world, and kind of like the lost songs we're gonna talk about here. Lost Wave. So if you don't know what Lost Wave is, basically it's like songs that have been now lost media because either they haven't been uploaded to streaming, hasn't been like talked about much, or anything like that. And yeah, I'm just gonna start some friendly beef. Connor, I actually am the one who Connor Bray. If you're watching this, I actually started doing lost media in here. You were the second, so do not say that you were the one that did it first. Anyways, let's talk about the first one, Just a Game by Change to Win, or it was actually also called Just a Game, which was a code name that people were looking for. Um, so this was found in 2024, and it was sent on, I think it was What That Song, like What That Song. I think that's how the website is pronounced, but where someone posted a brief synopsis of the song. I think it's like, I think it was Gabor 92, and it was actually founded by the by his daughter Dorka, in which after he passed, his daughter decided to find the song, and it was found via a title on a copyright entry, and it was also the song was initially created for a German charity called People for People for starving children in Africa as a fundraiser, which was actually a really sweet outcome because it was rather wholesome, I guess, per se. And the song itself is really good. Like, charity or not, it's still a good song. It's nice. It's good. I'm surprised that was the actual song name was Just a Game, which I'm shocked about. I was gonna talk about this. Oh wait, I think I actually did. I talked about this in my Lost Media episode, the Found edition, because I just had to put it last minute because I couldn't find any other ideas and it was just a last minute thing. But yeah. So let's move to a Subways of Your Mind by Fex, which is known to be the most mysterious song on the internet because it was lost in 2007 and didn't get found until 18 years later. Oh wait, no, actually it's 17 years later in 2024. And it was of course What That Song had it on for brief synopsis that had the synopsis of the song. And it was found by a Reddit user, I think Margin 1412, and he came across an old newspaper while researching about Herfest bands. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And the main topic was about a band called Fex who have won a talent contest for rock with wave and pop influences. And the user managed to get in contact with one of the band members who sent them songs that the band members worked on with Fex, which was Subways of Your Mind. The full song actually existed in 2021. I didn't even realize that until I saw it getting uploaded, got uploaded. It like was on my feed, and I just clicked on it, looked at the date, like, oh, 2021, and it wasn't found until like 3 years later, which is actually insane to be honest. But and the song has been a mystery since the 1980s after a teen recorded a cassette tape called question mark Blind the Wind, and it was actually called like the Wind for one of the code names. But yeah, let's move to How Long Will It Take by Paulo Toledo, which was actually called How Long Will It Take, which, geez, another one with the same name as a code name. It was found in 2023, and it was founded by a user, the Arabara. I don't know if we're pronouncing that right. And it was via searching through the Society of Composers, Authors, and Music Publishers of Canada. And it was then found on a 2003 movie called Moving Malcolm, and I've listened to all three of these songs, and they're actually really good. Lost songs actually have such high quality, and they're actually really good, even if it's like a lost song and such. It's kind of nice. There's a lot of other lost songs that I haven't talked about, but maybe we'll get to those in another episode if I do this topic again, but I'm not really sure. But let's go to one of the others. There's one of the songs. Subways of Your Mind by Fex. they actually played this song live. Like, I believe when it was found, they played it live at some sort of like venue. In which that's also going to be what the last subtopic we talk about is concerts, because they play live. First, let's talk about Alive 2007 by Daft Punk. So this was actually this actually brought Daft Punk back into the fame because their album Human After All was like very minimalistic and people didn't really like it. It was like, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was just mediocre. It was it was just repetitive songs, didn't add anything else to it. It was just a repeating loop type thing. Like for Robot Rock and Steam Machine, for example, like those two could be examples for like how it was like how like repetitive it was. But then later they actually added those Human After All tracks into that live track list and remade it and put their and did a live version of it, and people loved it. So they made people go back to Human After All, and people actually loved it. But I mean, it was still repetitive. But I mean, sure, it's still repetitive. But my bad. It was still repetitive, but I mean, it had a charm to it, I guess. And Robot Rock's music video actually was blinding, to be honest, because it was legit just Thomas Bangalter playing the guitar while was just like lights, just a bunch of like glistening, like glittering like lights, like blinding it. It's like you couldn't really see much of him playing a guitar, and Guy Manuel de Mahoman Crystal playing the drums. Like it was just like lights all over. It's such a fever dreamish like thing, as well as technologic. Like that's also another one. But no, Alive 2007 was one of their best concerts that they've done. Right next to their other concert, Alive 1997, which was 10 years before that. But yeah. So let's now move to Michael Jackson's Super Bowl performance in 1993. Now, this actually, hold on, my bad. This actually started the tradition of like famous musicians performing at the Super Bowl, because Michael Jackson's was legendary. Michael Jackson's Super Bowl performance was legendary. It literally made a ton of people faint and get them sent to the hospital. That's how how Michael Jackson's fame is. It's insane. But it actually, and let's talk recent Super Bowl halftime, because while I'm not going to talk about the Super Bowl itself, I'm just going to talk about the halftime performance, because this is a music show, and I want to talk about the halftime. So my predictions that I think for because Kendrick Lamar is performing at the halftime, and SZA is going to be the guest, and I think actually one of the things I was going to talk about is who will Kendrick bring on as a guest, but that answers my question. So and the next another one is what songs will Kendrick play, and so I mean, while he might play Not Like Us because it's his most popular song, I feel like he'd perform more of his like previous songs, like from like his other albums, because I feel like those like, I mean, they already got a lot of recognition, but I mean, deserve more recognition, to be honest, because right now Not Like Us is one of his best performing songs of the 2020s decade, and then GNX came out, and he'll probably play GNX songs, but also some other songs like from Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and his 2017 album, which I can't say the name of, because it has a swear word in it, and I'm not gonna say a swear word on here. But he might play some of them, like maybe Humble, maybe All Right, because he did perform All Right at the 2022 performance when he went there. But will it be a good performance? I think it will be a good performance. It'll be on par with the other Super Bowl performances. But yeah. So let's end this off with a little teaser that I might do for the third episode, in which I'm gonna talk about my new album that's actually releasing tomorrow, in which I'm going to talk about in February. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.